Rev up your engines!
Well, if you wonder what's happening to Jeep, well, the problem is they're making junky vehicles for an awful lot of money. And nothing but the market proves that. For example, a guy bought a 2024 Jeep Wrangler Willys 4xe for $64,605. He drove it 3,600 miles, and then he sold it, and he only got $36,500. That shows you what the market says. The market says they're overpriced garbage. Now, this even includes the hybrid system, right? Now, the hybrid system that Stellantis uses is a garbage hybrid system anyways. It's nothing like the ones that Toyota, Honda use. It's just this Stellantis piece of crap thing. Well, you can imagine. You're losing over 40% just a few months after you bought it and only 3,500 miles later. Jeeps, they're overpriced. The quality isn't that good. And it wasn't like this was just a cheap Wrangler. It was an expensive, loaded one. The popularity of Jeeps is waning a ton now. And a lot of it has to do with the lack of quality with Stellantis taking over. People always liked Jeeps. It was a big thing. Chrysler bought AMC just to get the Jeep name because AMC had bought the Willys Jeep name. Then Chrysler bought it to get the Jeep name, made a lot of money. But then Fiat bought it. Then the Jeep quality actually started to go up, started to go down with Fiat. And then Stellantis took over and it fell off a cliff. I'm not making this stuff up. That proves the market says, ooh, no, not 64. 34. Jeez, can you imagine losing that kind of money? Well, one of the most hated car features of the last decade is finally dying up. And you probably would agree with me because most people do. That is the end of capacitive touch buttons. Everyone who's driven for a long time likes regular mechanical buttons because you know there you touch them, click. I'm not talking touch screens here, touch screens. I'm talking the capacitive buttons, which means you still got the buttons there. Go over it with your finger and it turns it on. Now, you got to reach over anyway, right? And what people have found, people hate these, and I hate them too, because you're supposed to concentrate when you're driving on the road, right? Well, if you got a radio button, when we were kids, you could just reach over, pop, push the button. Why do you think they had preset radio stations with buttons? Because you push the button, you didn't have to look, and there's that station, there's the next station, there's the next station, right? When they went to these capacitive touch ones, when there's no actual button you push, it just takes the electricity on your finger and turns it on. People were accidentally turning things all the time. You turn the radio up or down or change the station. Or if you've got some kind of capacitive cruise control, some of these Volkswagens, people were turning the cruise control on when they didn't even want to because their hand reached over it. Well, finally, these idiotic engineers have realized that people don't like those things. And most companies are getting rid of them now. They're saying, oh, well, these capacitive touch buttons, we're going to go back to regular buttons because people don't like them. That's why I say, complain, complain, complain. If you see something in a car you don't like, complain. If you see a company that's doing something that you don't like, don't do business with them, like Hertz and their little AI scanner to tell if you've damaged their car, and then they'll send you a bill, which will include $200 administrative charge, right? Simple way to stop that. Don't rent cars from Hertz. If everybody stops renting cars from them, they'll go out of business. And these companies are finding out that these stupid capacitive touch buttons, people don't like them. So now guess what? A lot of them are getting rid of them. Thank goodness. We do have a little bit of power now. If you don't like something, complain, say you hate that. Oh, I'm buying this other guy's car because it doesn't have that. I've had people come to me, my own customers, and I'd say, why'd you buy this car? Well, because I looked at the competitors and they had all those touch things and I hate them. And this does regular buttons, so that's what I bought. And finally, these idiots are listening and getting rid of that stuff. Well, you can say goodbye to some more stupid electric cars. GM is going to stop production of their 2 electric Cadillac SUVs at their Spring Hill plant in Michigan during December. We'll sell nothing but electric cars. Well, guess what? Now they're going to stop making them for a while because nobody's buying the stupid things. GM is significantly curtailing production of the Cadillac electric vehicles during the first 5 months of 2026. That's a long time. Sometimes we'll shut it down for a couple weeks. This is 5 months, baby. You know, everybody knows. Nobody's buying those electric Cadillacs. Supposed luxury. What these people don't understand is the luxury car market is not electric. People want luxury cars. They want convenience, long range. They don't want to be hassled by sitting around for hours waiting for their car to charge up. If there isn't even a charger around, then they'll have to have it towed someplace. I have had customers buy electric cars. One customer bought an electric Audi. Then they went from Rhode Island to Denver to go to a wedding. They had so much hassle charging it. When they finally made it back to Rhode Island, they sold the stupid electric Audi and they went out and bought a gasoline BMW. They did not want to have an electric car. And I wouldn't have bought the gasoline BMW either, but I'd much rather have a gasoline BMW than an electric Audi, I'll tell you that. Americans are talking with their billfolds now and saying to Cadillac, hey, we don't want those things. Now Cadillac's, well, first 5 months of next year, we're not going to build these things. Boy, I can't help but laugh at the crazy PR companies put out. Here's a headline I'm reading. Volkswagen unveils hot 2025 new ID.Buzz lease for September. All right. The world waited a long time for the ID Buzz, but Volkswagen flagship does not disappoint. What a bunch of nonsense, right? Well, it's disappointing Volkswagen for sure because they're not selling them like hotcakes. And so now they got this, they say, hot new lease. This is a news feed, which to me is totally advertising. They show you the hot new lease. Now, it's a 3-year lease. And with the money you have to pay down and the end payment you got to make, and the payments you make each month, this comes out to about $30,000. So I don't call it a hot lease, other than it's hot for Volkswagen, that in 3 years, you're basically paying Volkswagen 30,000 smackers, and at the end of those 3 years, you own nothing. You just threw $30,000 down the toilet for the stupid little electric van that most people don't want. Who's it hot for? It's only hot for Volkswagen. It is not hot for the people who are buying them. It costs an awful lot of money to build them. So they have to charge a lot of money if they're going to make a profit selling them. People don't particularly want them anyways in the United States. And if they're charging all that money, a lot of times they do leases at a lower price. But I guess it costs so much money to make these electric little microbuses that they can't do that. I have seen leases for cars they can't sell be as little as about $130 a month. Right now, this thing is $580 a month. That's no deal, right? And you're only leasing it. You don't even own it. I've seen leases where you could lease. I was even thinking about leasing an electric car because I saw one lease, and the lease was like $110 a month. So that's not much, right? If it's $110 a month, it's just a few $1,000s. Okay, it's not $30,000, Volkswagen. This is not a deal. And the idiot that wrote this article, it's called autoblog.com. I wouldn't really believe anything that's an autoblog.com if they're saying this is a hot. Obviously, they praise it endlessly. Obviously, money's changing hands in this article, right? Nobody's paying me to tell the truth about cars. I just like helping people out, right? Well, another EV battery plant, this time in Detroit, has scrapped their $210 million idea. This particular one is the Australian company Fortescue, and they've scrapped their plans of making a $210 million electric vehicle battery factory in Detroit. They say, quote, current policy settings and market conditions, including the elimination of critical tax credits, we are not going to build this plant to build electric batteries for electric cars. Everybody realizes now, anybody with a brain, that this electric car fantasy is just that, a fantasy. And now the companies that actually have to make infrastructures, the batteries for the electric cars, they realize, gee, nobody's buying the electric cars. We're not going to build this giant factory in Detroit to build electric batteries. Nobody's buying the cars. Nobody's going to buy our batteries. Forget it. The rubber hits the road with electric vehicles, and people are saying, I don't like the way that electric vehicles hit the road. We're not going to buy it. And the whole domino effect of all these companies that are supposed to make the parts for electric cars is starting to collapse. In this case, the Australians weren't fooled. Last year, they said they were going to put this $210 million battery factory in Detroit. Now, oh, no, we're not. They didn't throw any money in it. They weren't stupid. They saw, hey, yeah, well, with Trump in, we'll talk about building a battery factory in Detroit. Oh, nope, nobody's buying the batteries. Buy. So all the people out there that think, oh, these electric cars are going to... No. Plus, as I've said over and over again, the technology isn't right. They don't know what's going to happen. This was going to be a battery plant to make electric batteries for cars. Now, they didn't say anything about being solid-state batteries. If the solid-state batteries do come into effect, this would have been a very smart move by the Australian company, not building this regular battery factory, because they weren't solid-state batteries. It behooves them to wait, too. Maybe they will eventually put money in there if they got a way to build solid-state batteries, and then people are buying them, and it starts to ramp up. But this isn't, you turn the switch on and the lights come on type thing. It takes decades to build an infrastructure, prove the technology of electric battery cars that people actually want to drive. Even the automobile, it took them a long time to go from horse and buggies to full people driving cars. And that was an improvement. Cars were better than horses. Electric cars are not better than gasoline cars in terms of the people driving them. So here's another piece falling off the electric car bandwagon. Are we going into a recession in the United States? I'm convinced that we've been in it for a while anyways, but a leading economist, Mark Zondi, has said that a third of the U.S. is already in recession. A bunch of it has even higher risk of going into recession. Zondi, who's the chief economist at Moody's Analytics, said that there are states, including Virginia, Connecticut, and Delaware, that are in dangerous territory, and many other states that are already in a recession. Now, so far, he claims that Hawaii, New York, and California are holding steady, that, hey, they're not in a recession. But jobs aren't available for people. Good jobs anyway. There's crappy jobs out there, right? You can hardly make ends meet by them. The gist of the matter is, you can see that even the states that are booming, like Tennessee, much people coming because there's no tax, right? But here in Clarksville, it was really booming. Now there's a bunch of unsold houses. Even a place like Clarksville, it's booming. Now, no, the real estate, too many houses for sale. And they're too expensive. 7 years ago, you could buy a house for $66,000. I know people who did it. They get bank repos for $66,000, and they only put $2,000 or $3,000 of paint and stuff into it. That same house today would be $250,000. So, of course, eventually, they're going to stop selling like hotcakes because things get too expensive. And then, when the recession comes, guess what? The prices start to drop. I saw that in Houston. I saw houses that went for $500,000, and then when the recession came, hey, I knew one, it was my neighbor's, sold for $88,000 at auction. Whole giant recession came with the dot-com collapse, right? And now they're talking AI and all this nonsense. They tried to talk electric cars, but that's already failed. Anybody can see that's failing. So the little crap's ready to hit the fan. And in many places, I agree with the Zondi guy, it's already hit the fan. In Houston, Shell says they're laying off 1,400 employees in their company. So finally, some guy, the Zondi guy, at least he's given a realistic analysis of it. He's saying, well, some of the states are still going, some are growing, but a bunch of them are already in recession. And if you ask me, ready to hit the fan. Because look, the stock market's all-time highs, right? That's a fantasy world, people. Stock market's a fantasy world, just like Bitcoin. It's a fantasy world. A lot of these companies, they don't do anything. You know, they talk the talk. But then, oh, gee, that was an electric battery company. Oh, now it doesn't exist. Oh, well, we'll go into another one. This is fantasy. This isn't reality. The reality is we're pretty much in a recession in a bunch of states, and it doesn't look too good for the near future. There's no arguing that. Well, I feel sorry for a lot of young people because it seems to be true that AI is ending a lot of entry-level jobs. But it's not just the entry-level jobs, it's ending the ladder, where you start at the bottom and work up, because if the robots are doing the bottom jobs, there's no people there to work their way up. Postings for entry-level jobs in the U.S. have declined about 35%. And the job losses among 16 to 24-year-old has had the patch of not being able to get jobs since the pandemic started and nobody was getting hired. And of course, if there aren't entry-level jobs, people can't work their way up because they don't have anything to work from. They don't have a job. Hewlett-Packard Enterprise, Antonio Neri, was a call center agent at the company. Now he's the chief executive officer. Doug McMillan, the CEO of Walmart, started out unloading trucks. Even Mary Barra started as an 18-year-old on the assembly line for GM. Well, if the robots are taking over these jobs, if AI is taking over the jobs, there's no place for people to go because they don't have a job at all. 50% of entry-level jobs can be wiped out by AI as it improves. So Consequently, if people are trying to get a job, 16 to 24s, there's going to be less jobs for them to find out. It's bad enough. Even before AI, college graduates, they can't find jobs. Like, I'm working at McDonald's and I got a degree in English. Well, not much you can do with a degree in English unless you want to teach. And there's only so many teaching jobs, and teaching isn't exactly a dangerous occupation, so people can teach for a really long time. Remember when I was a kid, the librarians were always old ladies, right? Well, they could do it forever. They're just a librarian sitting in the library, right? So it's not like there's a bunch of jobs opening up, at least jobs that people want. In the inner city, there's lots of teaching jobs open because nobody wants to teach there. It's too dangerous, right? But good jobs are hard to find for people with college degrees. And if AI is going to start taking over even more of that stuff, it's kind of the opposite of what happens in China. China, they graduate so many engineers. They don't know what to do with them, right? They got engineering degrees working in places like McDonald's because there's so many of them. They got to take whatever job that they can find. Well, if there aren't any jobs to find, what are these people going to do? So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.